Thank you, Callie, for that lovely introduction and for your dedication over the years. Your support means the world to us. I don't know, the 40-year thing, I don't feel like I'm that old. I don't know how this happened. But anyways, thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. As Callie said, it's been a really interesting few months, and we know we're going to be facing some really big challenges over the next few years, and we're very grateful to all of you and standing with us as we watch for these challenges ahead. I want to thank our board of directors who are magnificent, no other way to say it. Your steady guidance, your strategic vision have helped position us to succeed no matter what we face. I'm going to ask our board members, many of who are here today, to stand for a minute if we can get you to stand and give you a round of applause. I especially want to thank Lauren Davis, our board chair, and Megan Gates, our vice chair, who you'll hear from later. And I want to recognize our terrific treasurer, Jim McPhee from Liberty Mutual, who's been a great partner. So thank you. So we've reached a really big milestone for us. Last couple of months, we surpassed our goal of 1,000 units of housing with support. We're now at 1,100. Thank you. So earlier this year, we opened a new building in Jamaica Plain that we developed with the community builders. And I know Bart Mitchell and the TCB team is here. And I want to say thank you to Bart and the team for a great partnership. I think for those of you that haven't seen the building, come over and visit, talk to one of us, and we'll give you a tour. But it's a building I call Respect in Action. It's just magnificent. It's a beautiful building. And you can imagine what it feels like to move into a building like that after you've been sleeping in our dorms with hundreds of other guests. You move into a place with your own kitchen, your own bathroom, your own key. It changes everything for people. I have to say, this building is an example of the best of us as a city. It took the residents of Jamaica Plain, elected officials, public funders, and private donors to get this done. And it was, as Sheila Dillon will tell you, it was a long road, but we finally got there. But before I acknowledge a few other people, I know Howard's here. I want to mention Howard Cohen from Beacon, our other great partner over here at the Y right behind us, and just say thank you for the work and the partnership. Between the Y and the new building in JP, that's 250 new units that we brought online in the past couple of years. That's a substantial number. You know, we're hearing, I think, some pushback at the federal level about certain other trends, but I've got to say, trends will come and go, but data and ideas that work will win out in the end. 96% of our tenants remained housed from 1 year to the next. We've got one of the best housing retention rates in the country. We've got a long list of loyal and amazing partners who make all this housing happen. First, I want to acknowledge the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and Ed Augustus, who's really the Commonwealth's housing czar. Ed and his team have just been great to work with, funding these projects and helping us focus on housing. Sheila Dillon's here today, who runs the Mayor's Office of Housing. Sheila is the key to every one of these projects, so I want to say thank you. I want to thank the folks at the Yawkey Foundation for helping us make this expansion possible. We're really close to hitting where we'd like to be, thanks to Yawkey. I want to acknowledge a number of elected officials that are here today. Senator Bill Driscoll is here. Representative Richard Haggerty, who's chair of the Joint Commission on Housing. Sam Montano, Representative Montano's here, who helped us in JP. City Council President Rusi Lugine, John Fitzgerald, our City Councilor, and City Councilor Aaron Murphy. So thank you for being with us today. I want to acknowledge our special guest, Judge Kathy Coffey, who runs our homeless court. Please come and see homeless court. You will never forget it. So please come and visit. And I want to thank Lee Pelton from the Boston Foundation for being here today. He was our speaker last year. I want to thank the foundation for their support and the work they're doing to really help us all get through what has been, a challenging few months. I'd like to thank our breakfast sponsors, Stefan and Brenda Bancel from Bancel Philanthropies. Just thank you. Just so much great support from Stefan and Brenda and the philanthropies, to the folks from Bob's Furniture who are helping us with new furniture when guests move out, and to Ted and Maureen English. Ted and Maureen aren't here today, they're traveling, but absolute, just amazing donors, along with Natixis Investment Managers, long time partner, and our angel in disguise, Jean Temple, who, if you don't know Jean, you're missing something. And last weekend, we celebrated the marathon, right? Another great Boston tradition. Can I have our runners stand that ran for us in the marathon if you're here? Okay, not only did they run, as you all know, they had to raise a sizable amount of money. This group raised $100,000 last week and ran the marathon, so thank you to them. So take a look at your program. I can't tell you how grateful we are for the support and for the folks that support this breakfast. It's been a year of mixed news. We know rates of homelessness are going up across the country. That includes here in Boston. So this past winter, we saw about 100 more people every night in our shelters than we saw last year. So, we know it's growing. On the good news front, people came into shelter. Our street count remained really low. We're still one of the lowest street counts in the country. We're about 3%. Most cities of our size are about 50%. We had some folks here from Florida, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they kept saying to me, so where are all the folks on the street? And I said, you saw them. That's who's on the street. It was really interesting to hear their perspective. So I just want to acknowledge what a great job Sheila and the city have done on that. The other good news, I would say, is thanks to the Boston Foundation and the Indicators Report, they took a really deep dive into the data we get every year on homelessness. And about 9% of the people who are long-term homeless, about 9% of the people in Boston who are homeless for the long term, right, over a year. That's 50% lower than the national rate. So we got some things going the right way. It's hard work, but it's going the right way. We've continued to really see a great decrease in homeless vets. The decrease nationally over 10 years has been 55%. Here in Greater Boston, we're at 62%. We could end veterans' homelessness. The numbers are going the right way. So there's some really good stuff happening out there thanks to your support. I do want to come back to the JP building and share a short story about one of our first tenants. His name is Michael. He spent about half of his younger life in foster care as a result of his parents' substance use. By the time he moved in, he had been homeless for 520 days, and he was counting every day. He struggled with his own alcoholism, but once he moved into housing, it changed everything for him. He started volunteering at the food bank. He got a job as a crossing guard supervisor, and at the opening, he basically said, look, my case manager never gave up on me. He stayed by my side, supporting me all the way. So I can't tell you, your support is what allows us to give people support, so thank you. Thank you. So in a few minutes, you're going to see a video about Galvester, who's one of our tenants over at Hamilton Street. But when I saw the video, it reminded me that people think homelessness happens to somebody else. Galvester was a police officer, but even that's no guarantee that you're not going to become homeless. It reminded me of a Boston police sergeant named Harry who ended up with us many years ago. He lost his home and his entire family due to gambling, lost his job. And Monsignor Bill Francis, who was on our board at the time, called me and said he needed a bed for someone. And he brought Harry over. And I remember Harry's face when he got upstairs in the dorms and realized he'd be sleeping with hundreds of other guests. And he turned to Bill Francis and said, oh, I'm not staying here. I'll just sleep outside. And Bill, who was no pushover if you knew him, said, you're going to do what I tell you to do and what the staff tell you to do. It's a little bit saltier than that, by the way. But Bill was really clear. Now, it took us about 2 years to get Harry out, and he ended up in elderly housing. But never, ever thought he'd walk through the doors of Pine Street. I wish life was a straight line and that people didn't fall down. But that's not how it works. You help us pick people up, and your support's the glue that enables us and the staff to do their work, whether on the street, in shelter, in our job training programs, and more in housing. So what's next for us? Community Builders has just started construction on a hotel to housing conversion in Dorchester, which we hope will open next 9 months, we're hoping. We're starting to lease, talk about lease up, which is great. So back to the 40 years for a minute. People ask me what has kept me at Pine Street for 40 years. I would say, first of all, this board, they work so hard to make sure we stay true to our mission, and the staff. They bring their passion, their perseverance, a whole bunch of perspectives and experience to the work. The tenants and guests whose stories still inspire me and some days make me wonder, how can people go through so much and still have hope? And then all of you, we could never do this work without the support. You have our back, and most of all, you give us the encouragement to keep moving in the right direction. So thank you. Now, let me introduce you to Gail Bester.